New Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New Right Network's original series, SmythTV. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the fake news media, exposing the fake news propagandist Democrats, and giving you the real news Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And again, folks, if this is the first time you've been on the show, here's how it works. If you go down into the description below, there's a link that says full show notes. That'll take you right over to newrightnetwork.com. There'll be usually about 3 pages of show notes, as well as the video of the show embedded in the article. So you can literally take that link and share that with your friends and your family. They'll have the show notes and the videos that they can watch and follow along. And why would you want the show notes? Because all the great patriots that are in our show, you've got the links to their handles over to Twitter. You've got the links to the great articles that we're going to discuss and talk about today, as well as Donald Trump tweeting out. So that anybody gives you any flack, you say, no, here's Donald Trump's tweet right here. This is what you need to see. And so, and with that being said, after the show is over at 8 o'clock, it's 7 to 8. After the show's over at 8 o'clock is the Wayne Dupree Show. 2 hours of back-to-back news and information that you're not going to find anywhere else. Nobody is talking about the things that we're talking about, because this is real news, folks. And if you need to get over to Wayne Dupree Show, just jump down in the description, and the link to his show will take you right over there to Twitter so you can watch him as well while he's live. Also, if you folks like to listen to the show audio only, the iHeartRadio link is in the description, as well as the Patreon.com. And I guess this could be said as a new Patreon. There's a Patreon, Melted Marbles, was a Patreon in the past and has now come back. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. It's $5, and it's $5 of fantasticness, guys. If $2, $3, whatever you can afford, become a Patreon, help new news media, help the real media get out there, the real information, get out there to your friends and your family and folks that absolutely need to hear this stuff. And if you're like me and you get shadow banned on Twitter or Facebook and you're not getting the notifications on time, or you're not getting notifications at all, in the description is Telegram. Get the app. You'll be a part of our private exclusive group as well. And every day I'll drop the link to the show when the show is live, so you'll absolutely never miss it. And by being a Patreon, I almost forgot about this. By being a Patreon, Melted Marbles will actually be able to watch the show early. We'll get the links early, because as a Patreon on patreon.com, there's a message group, and I send out the notifications as well there, so that you will never miss a show as a Patreon. And then the new platform that's kind of taken off on its own, parlor.com. Catch us over there at Smith Television as well. And for the breaking news of the day, guys, if you have been tuned out over the weekend, I hope you had an incredible 4th of July. I spent a lot of time with my friends and my family, and it was just a really, really good time to be out and about and talk about the things that are going on in life, and just share the American dream with each other, and talk about your hopes and your aspirations and things that you're doing and places that you're going. It's a really great time. Donald Trump knocking it out of the park with one of the greatest 4th of Julys that anybody has ever seen. That one on Thursday, and then spilling over into the weekend. Just great time. So if you've been plugged out and you haven't been plugged into news, here's what's going on, guys. We got a lot of Trump news that's happening right here. Some really good, great information, as well as some Twitter bans. Guys, it is unbelievable, but we cannot stand anymore. And Donald Trump absolutely needs to do something. What it is, I don't know, but you got to collaborate and work with your team and come up with something, because this is how we're going to lose 2020. social media being on a lockdown, the Twitter ban, the issues that are going on. This is how the left defeats us in 2020. We'll touch on that a little bit, as well as the Jeffrey Epstein. Yep, you guys know him. Bill Clinton knows him better than all of us, with 26 trips to Lolita Express to Orgy Island. Yeah, guys, we've got to hit this one. I've got to tackle this one. These are one of those topics that are just kind of, they're tough to work with. They're tough to handle, but don't worry. We'll get through it real quick. We'll give you all the real information and what is going on. Who are the players behind it, and why is social media saying that Donald Trump's best friends with Epstein? Oh, come on. You guys know just as well as I do. It's fake news. That's why we got to expose it here. Who is with Epstein? Who's been helping him this entire time? And we are going to tell you exactly the number one guy that literally took down a billionaire. Our good friend Mike Cernovich, at Cernovich on Twitter, taking down Epstein, the multi-billionaire, fighting every aspect of the deep state. This is just incredible, folks. This is where the new news media comes from. This is the heavy lifting with folks like Tom Fitton and James O'Keefe and Mike Cernovich, just really dig in, exposing these people for who they are. And you hear it every single night right here, folks, Monday through Friday, right here on Smyth Television. And then we'll touch on Democrats 2020, communism, socialism, Islam. That's all they got, and they're completely exposed. No one in their right mind could possibly vote for a Democrat at this point in time. They are all so far left. We've never seen the Democrat Party, at least I've never seen a Democrat Party this far left since, I don't know, go back to the Civil War. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. And we'll start off with this, and this at WATSPN 1013, good patriot to follow. And yes, the US WST won the World Cup. Congratulations. While celebrating, Ali and Meghan dropped the US flag onto the ground to dance around and posing for photos. But thankfully, Kelly O'Hara rushed in to rescue Old Glory. This is the same woman who kneeled for the national anthem, and self-serving liberal, hating against Donald Trump and all the likes. But this is what liberals do. They self-serving. See right there, she throws the flag right on the ground just so that they can get their moment of fame. And of course, the purple hair. Guys, I can't explain this. This is absolute insanity. This happened to me over the weekend, too. I was at a farmer's market, and somebody had set up a flag that was draped and pointing down, which I've been told now. I've been given the code that says you're tactically not allowed, unless in time of distress, to hang Old Glory downwards like that. But somebody at a farmer's market had it hanging down, and it was the end of it was bunched up and laying on the ground. That bothers me. Something like that. It's just, I know they were taking pictures. I know that there was celebrations or whatever. And even at the farmer's market, I know they were doing pictures and photo. But this is not the way that we treat our flag. And it's just truly unfortunate. I absolutely blame the mainstream media. And I also blame the Department of Miseducation for not taking care of their jobs and doing it correctly and informing our children the rules and regulations on how to maintain and take care of the flag. And as we talk about misinformation, this one at 2017FRN, very worthwhile series for Christian patriots from Edge of Wonder, Why Communism is the DS Mind Control Cult. We talk about it here a lot, folks, and we want to keep touching on it. And whenever we see great documentaries coming out exposing communism for what it is, this is what we've got to do. Again, in the show notes, check this out. This is over on YouTube, but it's a multi-part series, 5-part series on communism, real short series, about 10, 15 minutes apiece. Great information, and if you guys have been here with us for a while, you know exactly what it's all about and what we're talking about, and they're just saying the exact same thing that we've been saying here. Communism, Islam, and socialism, all godless. The Democrat Party, godless. I mean, they have to be, because Christianity will actually pull you away from that slave state that is communism, that is Islam. And I've said this before, we got to keep saying it over and over. We've got to reach out to these Islamic folks, or these folks that are imprisoned in Islam, and show them the freedom that is Christianity, show them the freedom that comes through Jesus Christ. That's the only way we're going to beat this thing. I'm seeing all kinds of folks now running Democrat 2020. We even have a Republican, claims to be a Republican, but he's Muslim, down in Texas running for a Republican seat. This is no good, guys. This is smoke and mirrors, and this is how they take over for truly, because they can't beat us at a war. And our good friend at Helper2, just a reminder, today is Monday, July 8th, 2019. And in the past 30 days, there were 85 Islamic attacks in 25 countries, in which 861 people were killed and 679 injured. And this at Megavolt001, hashtag FEC, hashtag Congress Omar, file a complaint at fec.gov. Turkish media calls for Turks to support Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar's campaign. U.S. federal law prohibits foreign nationals from donating to political candidates. Guys, in the day and age that we live in, you can reach out, you can give money to anybody, anywhere, at any given time. They could fund her through Bitcoin, they could fund her through PayPal, Western Union, whatever the case may be, and nothing's going to stop that money and from her from spending it unless there is a complaint filed. Guys, this is the tough part. She has actually been connected with Turkey for years and years and years, and we believe, it's very possible, now we're seeing it, that Turkey actually has helped to fund this woman in running for office. They want nothing more than to bring Sharia law to America. Reporters have gone to where she lives in Minnesota and in the streets. The Somalian population is enormous. And they'll ask random people on the streets, do you want Sharia law? Is Sharia law the best? Sharia law versus American law?
Living in the U.S., would you prefer to live under U.S. law or Sharia law? Well, you'd think the answer was pretty obvious, but that's not what one filmmaker discovered on the streets of Minnesota.
Feel more comfortable living under American law, or do you feel more comfortable living under Sharia law?
Sharia law.
I'm a Muslim. I prefer Sharia law.
You prefer Sharia law over American law?
Of course, yeah. Of course, yeah.
Would you prefer to live in America or prefer to live in Somalia?
For me, I think it's Somalia.
Would you rather live in America or live in Somalia?
I would rather live in Somalia.
You'd prefer to live in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Filmmaker Amy Horowitz gauged opinion in a mostly Somali neighborhood in Minneapolis, an area from which he says dozens of young Muslims go to join terror groups abroad. Horowitz says he's not against immigration, which he sees as a great benefit to the U.S., but he believes the alienation of American Muslims is growing and the trend is continuing.
These people are, for the most part, either born in the United States or they grew up in the United States. What you find among the Muslim immigrants in Europe and the United States is that the first and second generation are more radical than their parents. They're actually not only not integrating as time goes on, as generations come by, but there's a larger alienation as more time goes by.
I'm not Americanized. I just speak fluent, and I'm, you know what I mean, I'm articulate, and I can articulate what I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? That's about it. But other than that, I mean, as far as my culture and my preferences and everything, it's still Somali.
And the fact that the vast majority of young people who I asked would rather live in Somalia or in Saudi Arabia as opposed to the United States, it blew me away. So there's something about this pool of immigrants that has become very, very problematic for our country and for Western countries.
Every single one of them, men specifically, say that absolutely we need to bring Sharia law to Minnesota. That's the problem. That is the big problem. And Kamala Harris making news over the weekend, and this at Eddie is back, KAG 2020. Another one that played the system all too well, by the way, is hashtag prostitution legal in California? Kamala Harris. Yeah, a little bit racy, but no, it's true. It's true, guys. Kamala Harris got her start from a politician who literally paved her way all the way up to where she is today, attempting to play the black card, attempting to play the race card, and now we've got mainstream media flipping it and attempting to play her as an Indian, which she is. She is of Indian descent, her mother and her father Jamaican. Neither one of Americans come to America, have a baby, and now you're anchored. That's the big problem, and that's what Congress will not tackle. They will not tackle the fact that that is actually wrecking our system. Nowhere in the world can you go, have a baby, and that they'll allow you to be legal. There's nowhere in the world you can do that. Only in America and American politics. And why in America like this? It's because this is how the Democrats take control. This is how they invent and create new voter blocks, a new voter base. And this at Hugh Hewitt, my new Washington Post column again urges real Donald Trump to use an executive order to outline his reasons for the citizenship questions he requires be returned. Added to the 2020 census with EO effective immediately pending review by SCOTUS. And this our good friend at SERREMMY. Counting illegals in census dilutes the voting power of Americans. This at OAN.
To do with ensuring Democrats never lose another election. According to Representative Mo Brooks of Alabama, his mostly red state will lose congressional seats if illegal aliens are counted in congressional apportionment. This gives states like California and Florida an additional 20 congressional seats, plus electoral college votes, diluting the voting power of real American citizens. Conservative states like Montana, with just 3 electoral votes, are essentially wiped out. Yet counting only American citizens moves power away from liberal coastal states like California, Washington, and New York, and gives it back to middle America. After Obama's decision in 2010, illegal aliens were counted for reapportioning congressional districts, but that violates the 14th Amendment, unconstitutionally diluting the representation of American citizens. And it's important to remember, the citizenship question does not ask about a person's legal status in the country. It simply asks whether or not the person is a citizen. Therefore, the argument that it will deter non-citizens from participating in the census is completely erroneous. Not only that, but by keeping an accurate count of the citizens in each district, the census can help cut down on voter fraud, protecting the integrity of our elections. Whether or not the question will be reinstated on the 2020 census is still unclear. However, as we've seen, the outcome of this decision could have a massive impact on not only future elections, but on the future of America as a nation as well. Pearson Sharp, One.
This is exactly what the Democrats have been doing, folks. We're truly awake now, and we're trying to wake everybody else up. But look back, all the way back to 2008, Obama's agenda still having an effect today. He did this in 2010, 2 years after being in office, removing that question from the census that was originally on there. That's why the Democrats are fighting the census question. That's why these politicians are fighting the census questions that are liberals. This is what they're doing. Calling Donald Trump racist, bigot, sexist, homophobe. That's all they've got is name calling. We've got to wake up our representatives and absolutely have them fighting for us. We, the people of America, not illegals. Because that's what Democrats are doing, fighting for illegals. They're fighting harder for illegals than they are for Black Americans, white Americans, Hispanic Americans, American Americans. They are fighting harder for illegals because they know that's their new voting bloc. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez over the weekend, fighting for illegals, staging a fake cry-in or whatever she was doing. And yes, legal Hispanics are fighting back against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This, our good friend at Real Anna Pauline. Stop saying Hispanics want illegal immigration. We love this country and aren't drinking the leftist Kool-Aid. This also a USAF veteran.
All you do, go away. Go away. Taxation is bad. Taxation is bad. Hey, do something about the wall, Ocasio, you piece of shit. You piece of shit. Piece of shit, Ocasio. Do something about the border. Do your job. Do your job, Ocasio, you piece of shit. Do your job.
Yeah, getting a little violent down there on the border. Ocasio-Cortez from New York spending more time down on the border creating and causing more of a crisis than needs to be. But yes, definitely bringing attention to the border, and absolutely their American citizens are fed up with this this race baiting, fed up with all this fakeness that these politicians are doing. This is why we elected Donald Trump. We were sick and tired of politicians placating to people, lying to people, making things up and saying that they're going to do one thing and not doing it whatsoever. You got the ghost of John McCain claiming that replace Obamacare, and then when he had the opportunity to do it, thumbs down. Your lasting legacy, John McCain, just truly unfortunate. But this is why we got to get rid of these rhino Republicans and get rid of some of the worst Democrats, the worst of the worst. This new incoming Democrats just absolutely showing us how far left and how bad the Democrats can really be. And how bad does it get with the Democrats? Yes, this breaking today on Monday by the Washington Times. New York governor signs law allowing release of Donald Trump's taxes. Yeah, this is true, folks. But I think that they're going to be in for a room. This is going to be the worst thing that they've done. This is actually, I feel that this is going to hurt them by far than help them. They're going to see things that they probably wish they hadn't have seen. But yes, this new law says that if you are a public official, that your taxes can be sought after to do, oversight. Right. Well, I hope when the Republicans gain the House back, I hope they use this new law in New York to, do their oversight and start releasing Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi. Let's get some of these taxes out in the open. Hey, Cuomo, how about you? How about releasing some of those tax returns and seeing where you made all your tens of millions of dollars, and Bill de Blasio out of New York City. Let's see those tax returns. I think that they're going to rue the day when this comes to fruition for them. I'm mad about it because it shouldn't be. This is absolutely illegal. The IRS is not working with the Democrats, and so the Democrats are going to force their hand. But then again, in the end, I think this is going to come back to hurt them and haunt them as well. And something else that the leftists are doing, this at Colonel Richard Kemp. Bad news for global warming religious zealots. World War II plane discovered under 300 feet of ice in Greenland, which means the ice sheet in that particular region has, wait for it, grown by an average of 4 feet per year since 1942. Just like real news comes back to haunt the liberals. Again, I think the thing that is going to come back to bite them is all the lying, the cheating, and the stealing because they can't win. They have no new ideas. And this attaching themselves to global warming is pretty much destroyed Vice President Al Gore, pretty much destroyed any leftist to do a documentary on this in their career. No, not working out very well. And now we find 300 feet of ice, World War II aircraft. How about that? Now the big breaking news over the weekend, the Jeffrey Epstein ordeal. Yes, it's big, actually bigger than an ordeal, folks. This thing is just outright disgusting, pathetic, sick. It's the soulless, the godless party that is Democrats. And I know people are going to start screaming, Brian, Donald Trump, his friend. Hold on. What about Secretary Acosta, Labor Secretary, Brian? What about Kenneth Starr, Brian? Kenneth Starr. How about all these people that are Republicans? I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But we absolutely need to expose Jeffrey Epstein for who he is. And I want to thank our good friend, Mike Cernovich at Cernovich, Cernovich on Twitter. Mike Cernovich absolutely sticking to his guns, holding Jeffrey Epstein's feet to the fire and making headway. 2 years, 3 years, doesn't matter. Exposing these pedophiles, exposing these sickos in the Democrat Party. Epstein flying Bill Clinton 26 times to Orgy Island. Everybody's known the connection between Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton, and it is what it is. And we know these people. I mean, come on, Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky. Oh no, that's a one-off thing, but no, he raped multiple women that we know of. We actually interviewed Juanita Broadrick on our show. He's an absolute serial rapist, Bill Clinton, and hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. That's kind of par for the course, I guess. And this over the weekend, the Washington Times writes, unsealed indictment reveals Jeffrey Epstein used underage victims to recruit others for sex. Epstein created a vast network of underage victims for him to sexually exploit, often on a daily basis. Federal prosecutors said in a press release announcing the indictment, prosecutors charged Epstein with 1 count of sex trafficking of minors and 1 count of conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking of minors. He is expected to appear in federal court on Monday. That is today. We'll see how that turns out. Guys, 1 count and 1 count. I'm going to tell you right now what Mike Cernovich was able to do is get the sealed documents going all the way back, and the investigation go all the way back from 2001 through 2007. All those documents, all those records either burned, gotten rid of. They had all kinds of evidence with Epstein's hard drive and computers and all kinds of stuff. Stuff broken, bleach bit, hammers, all kinds of dirty deeds going on. FBI was involved, local law enforcement, the only ones that you could trust, that was digging up all of this. One of the top cops on the beat that was trying to expose all of this with Jeffrey Epstein down there in Florida said that he thought that it was going to end. After one girl that they interviewed, she gave up 2 or 3 friends that were involved. And, days go by and he's like, yeah, we're getting to the end of this. And all of a sudden, from what started off to be Jane Doe 1, then Jane Doe 2, Jane Doe 10, Jane Doe 20, Jane Doe 25, Jane Doe 35, Jane Doe 40, to 60, to 70, to 80, 90, over 100 Jane Does testifying to these cops of what had happened. They tricking these girls to come into Epstein's home, this rich mansion, paying them anywhere from $200 to $300 to quote unquote a back massage, which just then turned into debauchery and forced whatevers. And I'm telling you, it's just absolutely so awful. All this stuff documented. I'm talking over 100 girls. Then Epstein started to have his own private investigators, then start to intimidate the girls, start to intimidate the families of these girls. And matter of fact, one of the families testified that one of the private investigators literally ran him off the road. Intimidation tactics. And one of the guys that worked there at the Epstein mansion said that he was the human ATM machine. He was told to keep $2,000 on his person at all times. He was to pay the girls $200, $300, whatever was told. He was then to clean up after the sessions had ended, and what he detailed was absolutely appalling. We're talking about girls as young as 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It is just unbelievable that Jeffrey Epstein could get away with this and be charged. He was charged originally with, prostitution, racketeering, prostitution type stuff. Served a few months in prison and then let free. His accomplice, the people who helped him to schedule all these girls to show up, scheduling and transporting them back and forth. They got immunity. Everybody else got off. Epstein was the one who got tagged and now registered as a sex offender. Still running rampant. It still hadn't changed his ways. And now we've got Mike Cernovich doing some heavy lifting to get these documents unsealed. That's what we wanted to see. Get the documents unsealed to see if the prosecution did a good job or not. And we're finding out right now, folks, it is really super bad. Yes, we're talking about Secretary Acosta, Donald Trump appointed labor secretary. There's no way Donald Trump knew that Acosta was in on this, allowing Epstein to get a sweetheart deal to walk away literally unscathed for nothing when he had abused and sex slaves, like literally slavery, sex slaves at his mansion for years and years and years, and just a slap on the wrist and get away with this. So now he's coming under fire. Acosta's coming under fire, as well as Kenneth Starr coming under fire, allowing the prosecution to actually work with Epstein's lawyers. Hear me right. The prosecution Okay, so the cops do all the work, and then they hand it over to the prosecuting attorneys and to go ahead and prosecute the case, because that's all the cops do. They come up with the evidence, and they hand it over for prosecutors to do their job, and that's what they were expecting to do. The prosecutors, instead of worked with, and now it's been revealed. It's all out there in the open for everybody to see. Text messages back and forth from the lawyers to the prosecution, emails from the lawyers to the prosecution, working out sweetheart deal for Epstein, coming to, working out a deal. And then all of a sudden Epstein said, no, I don't want that deal. I want a better deal and a better deal. And kept pushing it back until they finally got a deal that Epstein pleaded guilty to. That is the corruptness that we're talking about, and this is what needs to be exposed. And again, Mike Cernovich doing all the heavy lifting and exposing this. This was also written by the Miami Herald, who did an incredible expose on this. Mike Cernovich said the Miami Herald absolutely saved his life. Said he would have been dead if it wasn't for the Miami Herald and the incredible reporters over there. So give the hands up to Miami Herald without a doubt. And the link for the article is in the description, folks, or in the show notes. So jump over there and grab that. Read the full article. It will absolutely blow your mind. All the details that are involved. And again, going back to the prosecution working with Epstein, we're talking hundreds of girls, young girls, being treated as sex slaves to Epstein and to powerful people who would come into Epstein's web, if you will. And I'm going to go out on a limb. It's not very far, limb, and I'm going to speculate because I've read articles and I've seen documentaries that have reported Lolita Express with Bill Clinton on it. Young 12-year-old girls on this flight, young girls on his island, and some of them talking about that they've got video, they've got audio of things that have been going on and been happening, and possibly to release, possibly to let out there. I think we absolutely need to get to the bottom of this and stop. I'm not saying throw President Clinton in prison, which I wouldn't mind. Go ahead, throw him in prison. He should be in prison. That's not the whole point of this. The whole point of this is to expose these sex traffickers for who they are and absolutely put a shutdown on all of this. It's something that's not being reported on. Donald Trump and Donald Trump's administration in the past 2.5 years shutting down sex trafficking in America and abroad like we've never seen before. Our prosecutors and our great law enforcement are doing a phenomenal job under President Donald Trump to shut down these sex trafficking rings, arresting them by the thousands. By the thousands, folks. Obama didn't do that. Bush didn't do that. Clinton certainly, he probably promoted it. But I was just saying, so as we get into this article, I'm telling you, it's a great one to read by the Washington Times at first, and then now by the Miami Herald, and at LACERCI 65. Fresh off a win after his lawsuit helped lead to Jeff Epstein's arrest for sex trafficking, author and political commentator Mike Cernovich has launched a GoFundMe campaign to wage a legal battle to unseal deals made in sexual harassment cases involving. And you want to jump over and check that out. Check out Mike Cernovich's GoFundMe as well. And this our good friend Mike Cernovich.
You know, they think they've done damage. They've threatened my family. They've joined Antifa and all that. I can take a billionaire. It just takes 3 years. So nobody cared about this case until a man named Mike Cernovich, oh, here he is, Mike Cernovich, was in this case, and I decided to bring the heat. And, of course, thanks to lawyer Mark Mendoza for all of this and, all this and more. So I decided to bring the heat. Nobody else was talking about it, and I filed a lawsuit to obtain court records involving this case. And nobody else in the media had filed that lawsuit. Nothing like that. That was Mike Cernovich who did it. Don't you dare let them ever write me out of the story. So you can see here, interveners, appellants, and then, of course, the Miami Herald. Thank you, Julie Brown. Julie Brown saved my life, by the way. I would 100% have been killed if it weren't for Julie Brown, the Miami Herald. So, namaste. You may be a liberal. You may be a lefty. But namaste, I 100% would have been killed if the Miami Herald hadn't come into the story. This is not hyperbole, it's just fact. So, interveners appellants, Cernovich, the Miami Herald company, with reporter Julie Brown appear orders, and the court said that they sided with Mike Cernovich, right? We conclude that the district court failed to conduct a requisite particularized review when ordering the sealing of materials at issue. They vacate the order, and they side with Mike Cernovich, right? So you can read, I'm right here, I'm right here in this story, motions to unseal and intervene.
Again, doing the heavy lifting. God bless you. God bless you for your safety. And Julie Brown, thank you so much for helping our friend Mike Cernovich as well. Guys, I do want to say that Alan Dershowitz, that you may know from Fox News, Alan Dershowitz, a lawyer. Alan Dershowitz comes up in this story multiple times. Alan Dershowitz actually signed his name to this with the Miami Herald and Mike Cernovich. Back note on the back story, the Miami Herald reported on Alan Dershowitz being involved with Jeffrey Epstein as counsel. And in the article, there's one of the young ladies that was one of the sex slaves had stated under oath that she was forced to have sex with Alan Dershowitz. I don't know how true that is. I don't. This is the writing. This is the reporting from the Miami Herald. Say it's true, say it's not true, whatever the case may be. Why is now Alan Dershowitz jumping on board with the releasing of all these documents? It could be out of guilt, could be out of guilt and knowledge of knowing exactly what went down, all the evidence behind it. Alan Dershowitz was legal counsel to Epstein. And so I absolutely would have known exactly everything that's going on. So another big name to watch after. Guys, there's a lot of people that are falling from the skies, if you will, on this. Hollywood attempting to paint this as Donald Trump, paint this as somebody else, No, guys, I'm telling you right now, Kenneth Starr, and now we have Acosta, Secretary Acosta, involved in this whole thing. And I'm telling you, they're involved with it not as a Republican, not as a Democrat. They're involved with it for money. I mean, we're talking about a multi-billionaire, a billionaire. People will do just about anything for money, especially when their moral compass isn't correct. And I'm here to tell you right now, everything I've seen with Donald Trump from day one till now, Donald Trump has that moral compass. That's why you'll never see Donald Trump wrapped up in anything like this, because he wouldn't. He can't be bought and paid for. He's a man of the people. And this our good friend at MAZURIKL, extremely stable genius. Whoa, pervert. Jeffrey Epstein flew Clintons to Orgy Island. Mueller was involved as head of the FBI. Epstein was given a slap on the wrist, 13 months for one count of prostitution, even with photo, video, and victim statements. Karma's at your door this time, Jeffrey. That at thegatewaypundit.com. Guys, this is really big. As we stated, Mueller throughout the entire Russiagate, the Spygate, Mueller, the dirty cop that he is, multiple problems in his past, many debacles in his past, along with Weissman, many problems in their past, and now we've got another one. FBI was involved in this Jeffrey Epstein case, and the head of the FBI, Robert Mueller. Go figure. Another liberal Democrat trying to cover for a billionaire. And so this, a couple excerpts from the Miami Herald real quick. Michelle Latia is one of over 100 middle-class and high school-aged girls that Palm Beach billionaire Jeffrey Epstein is accused of sexually assaulting. Lakia, now an adult living near Nashville, recalls her experience with Epstein at his Palm Beach mansion while she was a sophomore at Royal Palm Beach High School. And in 2007, he agreed to plead, that is Epstein, guilty to 2 felony prostitution charges in state court. And in exchange, he and his accomplices received immunity from federal sex trafficking charges that could have sent him to prison for life. The deal, called a federal non-prosecution agreement, was sealed so that no one, not even his victims, could know the full scope of Epstein's crimes and who else was involved. The U.S. Attorney in Miami, Alexander Acosta, Secretary Acosta was personally involved in the negotiations, records, letters, and emails show. Acosta and Epstein's armada of attorneys, Harvard professor Alan Dershowitz, Jay Lefkowitz, Gerald Lefcourt, Jack Goldberg, Royal Black, Guy Lewis, and former Whitewater Special Prosecutor Kenneth Starr reached a consensus Epstein would never serve time in federal or state prison. This by the Miami Herald. Guys, this is how bad it is. And this isn't a Republican. This isn't a Democrat thing. This is child trafficking and prostitution. It is just awful, and it needs to be gotten rid of. We need to rid this country of this stuff and take them all down. Take Acosta down, take Kenneth Starr down, take Alan Dershowitz down, take them all down, throw them away. I'm done with it. Just done with it. And this at Just Say Truth Now, our good friend Linda Evans, this is one to follow. She's tweeting out to the lefty loony Alyssa Milano, who's quoting the Daily Beast that Donald Trump's best friend was Epstein. And so Linda says, it's all over the news that POTUS banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago years ago. You need to keep up with the news. However, it's still all over the news that Bill Clinton traveled to Epstein's little island 26 times on his private jet. How about investigating that story? That's 100% true, guys. Going back decades, Donald Trump knew what was going on. And Donald Trump said, you know what? This guy's a bad guy. This guy's a bad seed. May have even approached Donald Trump with some deals like this. Do not think that in the millionaire circle, that they don't talk to each other. They don't offer each other one deal to another deal. Hey, I've got this deal here. Hey, you've got that deal. Let's work a deal together. I'm sure, I'm absolutely positive that Donald Trump has been approached with some of this stuff before in the past. And again, you're never going to see Donald Trump being engulfed in any of this stuff because that's not it. His moral compass has got him on the right road. These people, on the other hand, absolutely zero moral compass. This is the evils. As we started out the show talking about communism, Islam, and socialism. In Islam, you're allowed to rape. You're allowed to keep your women in slavery. You're allowed to take on another wife. You're allowed to do whatever you want when it comes to women. Just keep them as slaves. Communism? Absolutely a slave state. And now we've got the Democrat Party and billionaire Epstein wrapped up into all of this. And Donald Trump tweeting out, actually, some real news, some good news. Last year was the first time in 51 years prescription drug prices fell. So I brought this up because our good friend at Deep State Exposed replied to Donald Trump with this clip.
Bill Clinton. Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
You didn't think Donald Trump knew what was going on. Absolutely, he knew what was going on and trying to put an end to it. It's hard to when you got the entire FBI willing to collude with an entire party. Guys, you know it's a fact. We've already shown this. And now when we go back to Kenneth Starr and we go back to Acosta, Jeffrey Epstein knew. He knew for an absolute fact, in order for him to cut a sweetheart deal, in order for him to get around the law and skirt the law, he needed to go after Kenneth Starr and he needed to go after Acosta, and they were able to be bought and paid for. Bought and paid for. I wouldn't be surprised if Rod Rosenstein's name came up in all of this because he's one of those dirty, dirty guys that gets the dirt on everybody. Epstein would have gone to Rosenstein and said, hey, you got any dirt on Acosta? You got any dirt on Kenneth Starr? Who do you have dirt on? We need to go to them. I need them on the dough. I need them in my pocket. And this is our very good friend at Julie Rinkwin1. Absolute follow. She'll follow you back without a doubt. And great Laura Loomer news that she tweets out all the time, just like this one. Did Mike Cernovich just get Jeffrey Epstein arrested for sex trafficking? Laura Loomer official. I follow back. Follow lauraloomer.us for stories the MSM won't report. Laura's also on Parler. And yes, Laura Loomer puts all the details out there like we're doing right here, folks. Again, you're watching New Right Network's original series, SmythTV. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it up, exposing the fake news and giving you the real news. And again, LoreLoomer.us, good friend of ours, good friend of the show. Mike Cernovich, good friend of ours, good friend of the show. Just absolutely exposing the evils that is the Democrat Party, the evils that is in the sex trafficking, the soulless, godless people that are out there that must be arrested, need to be arrested, and exposing our deep state in the FBI, Mueller, Rosenstein, all these guys, they all run in the same circle, and Donald Trump absolutely finding out who they all are. And this at JVER1. Does anyone else see a huge conflict here? Yes, if you don't recognize this woman, I wouldn't blame you. I don't know her either until you read the article. This is James Comey's daughter, Maureen, at the posse hat ordeal. Yes, James Comey's daughter possibly appointed the prosecutor for this Epstein thing. No. There's got to be recusals. We've got to keep the heat on these people and not allow Maureen to prosecute this, just like it went down last time with Kenestar and Acosta, cutting sweetheart deals, working their lawyers, the prosecution, working with Epstein's lawyers to try and figure out the best possible deal for Epstein to do no time. And in the case, he wound up doing 13 months in prison, just a branch of the jail. And for what? What'd he do? 100 plus women sex trafficked. So as we'll stay on top of this, we'll stay on top of the breaking news. We'll find out what happened today with Epstein as he goes to court today, Monday, and we'll report on it again tomorrow. And folks, if you like what you hear and you enjoy the show, absolutely jump over to patreon.com or jump over to smyth.tv and crush the Patreon button. Down in the description below is the Patreon button, and we showcase, we got our newest Patreon as of yesterday. Thank you very much for a $5 Patreon donation. Much needed to continue this show Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. We are self-funded. We are self-funded, folks. This is not coming from anybody else other than our pockets and you great Patreons. And from the bottom of my heart, God bless you. I thank you very much. May God grant you health and wealth in the coming years. And let's jump over to some good news. Let's round this thing out with some good news. Wow. I feel like I need to take a shower after reading this article about Epstein. Let's get into some great news coming out of Donald Trump. And this at our good friend at Jally_Cat. Fake news enemy of the people, CNN politics, American pride is the lowest ever been. Yes, this was an article by CNN. American pride has hit an all-time low, a poll finds. And this is a video clip of a young girl in Washington, D.C. during the 4th of July.
So I know you kind of just said, that was the first time I ever cried at a 4th of July. And so And why was it emotional? I just felt like it really embraced like who we are. And it just felt like God was really honored, and America was honored, and the military was honored, and it just felt like there was an immense sense of patriotism and love and unity. I think there's a lot of unity in the mentioning of our history and how rich of a
This
history we
concludes
have.
the formal program.
And it was just so beautiful.
Please stick around and enjoy the
Everything was
fireworks overhead.
Everything that you
They will begin just after 9.
Get me choked up every time I watch that girl talk about getting choked up. Yes, honoring God, honoring Christ, our founding fathers, and the founding of this country, getting back to the roots, folks, getting back to the basics of what we are as an American people, honoring our military. What an incredible president that we have to absolutely put the focus on God, country, and those who defend our country. That is American patriotism. Donald Trump bringing America together as the Democrats attempt to divide us every single time. When they say Donald Trump is divisive, I'm afraid not. Nope, you're wrong again. Donald Trump is uniter in chief. Barack Obama, the divider in chief, and he earned that nickname, setting back race relations probably 50, 60, 70 years. And this, our good friend at Winston Kofefe, listen to the young black man, and then they shift to a young black girl, and listen to what she says.
What accomplishments are you most proud of that Trump has gotten done?
The most accomplishments you got done?
Yes. You could hang your hat on and you say, hey, Trump did this and I really like it. Trump did this and I really like it.
Yeah, the lowest black unemployment in American history for one. Prison reform, another. The stock market breaking records, great stuff. I mean, I can go on and on. There's, the jobs is the main thing. The economy being stronger. What he's done with the trade and tariffs.
Yeah.
What's going on?
People are saying we're in a trade war with China to some degree. Do you think that's a good thing?
Yes, definitely, because they're ripping us off. For the past 40 years, they've been ripping us off. That's how we got on $20 trillion in debt. It's because we're not doing anything with China. And they know what they're doing. They're ripping us off, and we're not doing nothing about it. Now we got a president that's going to do something about it.
And I know a lot of the Democrat candidates are virtue signaling hard to the black communities. What do you think about how they do that and those people in general?
I heard a lot of Democrats talk about reparations. To me, I'm against reparations, but fine. If you want to give reparations, then let the Democrat Party give reparations, because they're the ones that did slavery to the black people.
Anything else you want to know?
Nothing. We love you, President Trump. We out here, blacks for Trump.
It's common. Are there a lot of Trump rallies? Are there a lot of New Yorkers who support Trump?
Yeah, it's a lot of New Yorkers that support Trump. A lot of us. We just not outspoken. A lot of us are afraid to wear our shirts or our hats.
And I wanted to follow up on that. Do you feel comfortable wearing a MAGA hat in public?
Yes, I do. Very comfortable. And plus, I have my father always with me.
Because there are people like Nick Sandman who suffered some consequences from wearing a MAGA hat. You know, a lot of the liberal media pounced on Nick. I'm talking about the Covenant High School kids. So what do you think about the media pouncing on people like that, different Democrats pouncing on that? Is it safe to be a Trump supporter?
I wouldn't say that it's safe, but you still have to stand up and not let people bully you.
Yeah.
You know, once you stand up and not let people bully you, other people will come to you and they will want to know more information.
What an incredible young mind. I got to tip my hat off to her parents and her family for educating her properly, because being in New York and going to whatever school she's going, if she's going to a private school, that makes a lot of sense of how educated she is. But if she's part of the New York system, the parents absolutely have to unravel that on a daily basis. But how incredible and articulate and well-spoken. Yes, huge Trump supporters. We're going to lose this, though, if we do not get a hold of the 3 to 4 to 5 million illegals that'll vote, the redistricting that Donald Trump absolutely needs to put. The question in the census, are you a citizen or not? It absolutely has to be in there. And this at Real Donald Trump last year was the first in 51 years where prescription drug prices actually went down. But things have been and are being put in place that will drive them down substantially. If Democrats would work with us in bipartisan fashion, we would get big results very fast. And this at Steve Scalise, America's economy thrives when you cut taxes and get harmful Washington regulations out of the way. Republicans and Real Donald Trump have proven that. Yet Democrats are threatening to reverse all of this success with their high taxes and big government social programs. And he's tweeting out to the Wall Street Journal, Dow Industrials close at a record, surpassing their October 3rd high and becoming the last of the major U.S. benchmarks to hit record this year. It doesn't take Albert Einstein to run a country, guys. And I'm not trying to belittle Donald Trump, not by no means. What he's doing is fantastic and phenomenal, but following a proven track record, following capitalism, a smaller federal government, smaller government in general, lower taxes. We always see when the taxes are lowered, people stop trying to fight the high taxes. They stop fighting taxes in general, and they go ahead and pay it because they're making more money. When you got high taxes, the very wealthy, the rich, they hire powerful lawyers and they find extremely delicate ways to keep their money, to maintain their money on hold. And that's just the point, guys. More taxes back to the people. You're going to see more spending. You're going to see, and not only that, but you're seeing the government actually pull in more taxes because people are making more and people are willing to pay it. And something we definitely need to tackle, this at Wayne Dupree Show. POTUS tweets and favorite numbers fluctuate in early morning. I thought I was losing my mind. Wayne Dupree recorded his desktop and watching Donald Trump's tweet as the likes went up 38,000 and then fell back down 33,000. The comments go up 7,000 and fall down to 5,000. Just a manipulation of these numbers. Also, the manipulation of another one of Donald Trump's tweets where the likes go up and fall down. That one went 28,000 to 33,000 and back to 28,000. Comments also fluctuate. And this at Prager University, and our good friend James O'Keefe highlighted at Project Veritas. This from a Google insider.
Specifically, the insider verified that PragerU, the conservative educational YouTube channel, and talk show host Dave Rubin's videos received heightened analysis in the artificial intelligence program Viacom. Viacom polices YouTube distribution, singling Prager and Rubin out as right-wing and news talk.
So they're applying narrative control.
What's scary about this to you?
What's scary is that Google's deciding what's important and what's not important. They are going through and they're effectively deleting conversations from the national narrative. It reminds me of a book called 1984, and that should have been a warning. 1984 should not be a user manual on how to run society. And Google's falling directly into that trap, where they're deciding what gets read, what gets consumed, what people are able to click on, what appears. It reminds me a lot of fascism. It's not just about burning books. When videos get pulled off of a platform, that's also a form of censorship. I've been living this for, years. And so, it's like, yeah, that's what it is. And for other people, it's shocking. But for me, it's like, this is why I'm coming forward. Because it is shocking. And people have no idea that it's happening. And they still think that Google is an objective source of information, and it's not.
Absolutely reminds me of 1984. If you haven't seen it, the movie's out there. You can rent it on Netflix or see it on Netflix. You might even be able to pick it up on the YouTubes for free. Very, very dark, very, very scary. And this is how the left gains their control over the citizenry, over the people. Got to control the conversation, control the narrative, control what you see and what you don't see. Absolutely, folks. This is why we had to start a whole new account. We've been doing this show for almost 5 years. For those of you just joining and you haven't seen the show before, I've been doing this for 5 years. We have 2 accounts. I got my account at Brian P. Smith on Twitter and then at Smith Radio. Both of those accounts literally locked out at 25,000 followers each. Every follower we gain, we lose a follower. Every tweet we put out, we lose a tweet. It's just absolute pandemonium. So I had to start this new channel. So again, please crush the like, crush the share this with your friends and your family. And again, New Right Network's original series, Smith TV, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, exposing the fake news and giving you the real news every single day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And stick around right in the description below. Click the link for the Wayne Dupree Show. Back-to-back 2 hours of great news and information that you will not find anywhere. As we round out the show, I just want to give an apology, folks. Every once in a while, a Patriot will make it in the show notes, but they won't actually make it on the show. And this at ATX_Patriot, an absolute great one to follow. She tweets out this about her dog trying to get snacks out of a small jar. Don't give up. Everybody has challenges. Figure out a workaround. #Bulldogs, #MondayMotivation. My bulldog always makes me laugh. Hope he makes you smile. Have a blessed day. All right, everybody, from Monday Motivation, God bless every one of you. Peace out. I'll see you tomorrow for Tuesday Thoughts.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.